Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dink podcast. This is episode 9. I'm JJ.
And I'm Graham.
And we just got back from Las Vegas at a little event held by Joola. And I was tired when we got back. I don't know about you.
I was exhausted. I was at the airport a little longer than you were. And I was sitting there and I was like, I go to sleep. I want to be home. But it was crazy though. I didn't even tell you this yet. At 5, my plane started boarding at 5:42. 5:42. There was no plane at the gate.
Okay.
And I was like, dang it, we're delayed.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even see gate attendants. I'm going to check. I check. I was in E10. They moved it to D, like 16. So I had to go down, get on the tram, and go to D instead of E. And I made it fine. But
jeez,
I was like, if I had missed my flight,
that would have been terrible.
Longer, that would have been terrible.
Luckily, you could have stayed with some friends, but that would not be fun. Plus, you had work the next morning.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyways, but Joola had us out. It was a 2-day event. We were down on Tuesday and Wednesday. Like I said, we just got back and they were recording this. We'll be posting this tomorrow. I'll also have another review up the same day that I post this. It'll be about the 11SIX24s, but let's kind of jump into just the Joola event. So we got this email. I made sure you were on that invite list and everyone was there.
Yeah, everyone was there.
Like all the reviewers, we got to play a ton. I mean, when we first got in, I think we were texting Aaron from Pickleball Effect and Kyle and Braden had just got in. So we went over to Sunset Park in Vegas, which when I lived there, I played there religiously. I know they just opened a Pickler, so a lot of people now are leaving to play there. But as soon as we got off the plane, literally all of us, I think they went to Denny's first, but we all met up at Sunset Park. We got a bunch of games in. I know he was shooting some content for his tungsten tape.
Yeah.
So Aaron had his hands full. But we got some good games in there. There was a couple subscribers of Braden, but also a couple of ours as well.
It was crazy. Yeah, they got there quick.
Yeah, very quick.
Someone told him Braden was there. And
100%.
There was like five other people there.
We were the consequence of them knowing.
And then they were like, oh yeah, I've seen you guys before.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was cool running into those guys and just kind of chatting it up. But so on Tuesday, we only had the dinner. We were split into 2 groups. So some of the guys did both of the events for Joola on the same day. We were split into 2. But so we just kind of went back to the hotel after we played at Sunset. And then we met up with Steven from STS Pickleball and his dad. Took us forever to find food.
Yeah, but we found it eventually.
And then also, we ran into Chris Carson from Pickleball Central, former DJ Selkirk at the check-in. Yeah, so meeting him. I know we'd crossed paths a couple times, but like kind of an official introduction. So
he was a super nice guy,
amazing guy. But just kind of got food, and then like I said, we just were in the waiting game, and then we headed over at around 5 to the Joola event, which was held at a house of a 10-year-old that Joola has signed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's his house, but
his parents' house. Same thing.
Yeah, Jack's Pickleball.
Yeah. And place was gorgeous. Great spot to host an event. I understand why they did it there.
Yeah.
Very intimate setting. Like I said, plenty of space and obviously 2 courts with a nice pool house, which was much bigger than just a pool house. But it was cool because when we got there, Andre Agassi was just out there playing pickleball with everybody. And it was just like, okay, this is legit. Like
to be the only thing he wanted to do. He was just out there playing. He talking it up. But and they said that at the event the next day too. They were like, he just wants to play.
Literally,
like he doesn't want to present and like sell you. Like he wants to play, get to know you, and actually just be like genuine in that intimate setting. So I think that was perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, 90% of the time that we saw him there, he literally was just playing pickleball.
Playing pickleball, talking, that's all.
Because as soon as he got off the court, I think he was kind of trying to leave, packing up, and obviously people were, talking, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I need a photo with him. So I grabbed you. I grabbed you. We ran over there, got a picture with him.
Yep.
And so it was super awesome. He was a super nice guy. It was fun watching him play. But so that was kind of that. And then in our 3rd game we were playing, they just kind of come up, and I can't remember which one of the Joola team members said this, but they're just like, oh yeah, I hope you're enjoying, having a good time. We got some food over there. Steve Aoki may be joining us, just thrown in there. And you and I looked at each other, we're like, I think we had the same thought.
Yeah, we were like, this we were like, that sounded like a joke. Like it sounded purely like a joke, like some random comment that was not real at all. But we were like, judging off the way this event has gone, where we're at, Andre Agassi being here, might be real.
Checks out.
Yeah.
And literally
5 minutes later.
Yeah, I was like, I was the first one to see him. He was walking right past me. I just go, hey, Graham. And he just like walks right by us. And ironically, when we rotated off the court, they took our side. I was just like,
I don't even think we rotated. I think we were in the middle of a game. Everybody kind of got distracted, and he just kind of stepped on.
And we're like, I guess we're off. Yeah.
We're like, that's him. All him.
But yeah, so that was kind of that. Then I think they had just tacos, which were phenomenal. And like I said, obviously got hit with some new paddles, which we'll get a little bit more into. Obviously, as you can imagine, we are under embargo. We can't give first impressions, so there will be some bones we're able to throw, as well as just all the information about release dates and kind of the lineup for Joola coming up. But just kind of want to summarize the event, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so that was kind of that. I mean, we were there till like 9:30, I think.
Yeah, it was late.
And
pushing 10 for sure.
Yeah, so we played a bunch of games. Obviously, played with Chris a little bit, and I think our first game, which was a bit rough for us warming up.
Yep.
Got a couple games with Steven, talked with Braden, talked with John. Got to meet Lewis.
Yeah,
from Pickleball Pursuit. Because I had met Justin at Worlds, and Lewis had COVID, so I didn't get to meet him. And I'm like, ironic. When I met one of you, I wanted to meet both of you, and now I get to meet the other half without the other one. I'm like, I just want to see both you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think we just want to play
it's the same person.
Yeah, it's the same person. They just grows a beard and glasses and whatever. But Lewis was hilarious, dude. I mean, even because we kind of have a creator Discord going right now, and it's just, he's so funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He is so funny. One thing I wanted to ask you, because I know we kind of went over this, but you hadn't met anybody. I had met like 80% of people.
I hadn't met anybody. It was crazy. Even Steven, who lives here, I hadn't met him. We just kind of...
Out of all the creators, and because I know you watch, like I said, all their content as I do, who was the most different? Who wasn't what you were expecting? Just kind of thoughts on that. I'm just kind of curious to hear this.
I would say almost everybody was exactly how I expected them.
That's the boring answer.
I know. So the only person... I'm going to just call him out, because the only person who was like different than I expected was Braden. Was like much more lively and just like cracking jokes constantly. Like he was much louder than I expected, because he seems just very introverted on camera, the podcast, but not even in a bad way. It's just, he seems like a serious, like, this is how things are.
And that's not at all how
he was just roasting people left and right. Yeah, but I mean, Chris was loud and hilarious and nerdy.
Yeah.
It's kind of how he is on the podcast. And I got to talk to Isaac for a little bit. That was nice. Same thing. Yeah, they're all very genuine to how they portray themselves. I think is great.
I think it helps too when you're able to watch on the podcast and see people for so long. That's why Braden's the interesting one, because I 100% agree. I think Braden's way more loose in person than he is on camera.
Lewis was kind of that way too, though.
That was
a
the
little
one
more serious on camera.
That was the one that was going to surprise me. I mean, I know those two banter on there, but he was extremely like goofy.
I mean, he was the loudest one there by
a mile. So I was going to say that was my one surprise, because I also had already, like I said, met pretty much everyone prior to this. But yeah, no,
Kyle was slightly quieter than he is on the podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of funny they were the inverse.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like they were flipped a little bit.
Overall, it was so cool seeing everybody. Like I said, everyone just so genuine. Everyone loves pickleball. All the creators just like, was so fun just talking shop, talking pals, getting to play games, and obviously get to hit a really cool and
really, really cool paddle.
Probably going to be a very successful paddle.
I agree.
So the next morning, this will be the last bit. We got up very early, drove over, they shuttled us, and we got the presentation from Joola, got all the information, got to see some upcoming commercials. And then we got to do some interviews. So we're going to have some of those upcoming. Some of those are also embargoed because of the information we talk about. And then we just played more pickleball.
Yeah.
And it was nice because Kyle and Aaron from Pickleball Effect, they came back the next day. Didn't get to play with Kyle, but Aaron hung around, and we went back to the airport together. But man, at the end of it, I mean, you and I think part of it was mostly the sun. But
goodness.
I mean, I played pickleball.
It doesn't look like it on camera, but I'm pretty
red.
Pretty red, yeah.
But yeah, it was so funny because, I mean, coming from golf, but then also just like we play pickleball for hours usually.
Yeah.
And I just don't think I had been out in the sun for that long in a long time.
Cold, more indoor play.
So it was again, it was like a perfect 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's not hot, but
the
just
sun was
the
out.
sun
There
was
no
out.
clouds.
And yeah, so I think that's what mostly got to me.
Yeah, it's been pretty overcast here. So.
Yeah. But anyways, that kind of wrapped that up. So now let's get into the information we can talk about.
Yeah.
So jumping into the subject that everyone's probably here for, the new Joola Pro 4, not the Gen 4. Very specifically said it is the Pro 4.
Yep.
Which I think is actually probably smart, getting away from that naming scheme. Not because they shouldn't use it, but it just would probably cause some confusion, at least as they know in the marketing space for YouTube reviewers, like Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, everyone's focusing on the core construction.
Yep.
So I actually kind of like the fact that they're obviously sticking with the number scheme, but they're switching it up a little bit to help with confusion. I obviously have not opened mine up. You opened your 16 up.
I did.
We were able to, we only got 3 paddles. These are 2 of them. The other one is the cheaper Agassi paddle. Haven't had the chance to hit with that one specifically because we hit with the other paddle that is also launching, which is the Agassi Pro.
Yeah.
Which is another high-end model that is going to be launching alongside these Pro 4s, which will be on March 4th.
Yep.
But on March 4th, they only will be launching the Pro 4s in the Perseus shape, 14 and 16, and then the Agassi Pro in the 14 and 16. The other shapes will be coming, I believe, in April.
Yep.
Like I mentioned, I have an open mind, but they had a ton of demos at the event.
Yeah.
We got to play with them. They had some that had already been broken in. They had some that were brand new, so you can feel the difference. What's your initial thoughts of the 16, as I know you prefer?
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, it feels like the mod, but it doesn't hit like a mod. It feels like the mod, so same feel. It has the 3S power.
Yeah.
So it's in that 3S paddle tech power. Great sweet spot. Has the same feel of a mod. So if you liked just the feeling, everybody's gonna get into that and be like, he says it hits like a mod. Doesn't hit like a mod.
Yeah.
It feels like a mod. It hits like a 3S paddle tech with a great sweet spot.
Yeah. And I really want to get into why it feels like a mod, but unfortunately that might be embargoed.
Yep.
I apologize. What I will say though is these are not foam core paddles.
Yes.
I feel like I am allowed to say that. And also, given that description, I would hope people would figure that out. But I just want to make that clear because I got a ton of DMs after I posted that we were hitting these. Not a foam paddle. And the best description that I heard kind of throughout the entire week, which is right in line with how they feel and kind of how you said, plays like a 3S, modified, sounds and feels like a mod.
Yep.
That is right in line with, like I said, I think how the public will perceive these. One thing I know that Team Joola kind of pointed out, just to be aware of, when you get these paddles, they might not feel anything too crazy or maybe what you expect. There is a slight break-in. Joola has been committed, and even in our interviews when we asked this, they went for durability on these paddles. Yep. They aren't doing some of their previous practices. They've focused in on trying to get these paddles to last longer. I mean, the 3S was way more durable than the Mod TA. I'm hoping they have iterated with some of their new tech to make the 3S, like I said, this newer version with the Pro 4, even more durable. But more time will tell them that.
Yep.
At the event, we were able to sit down with the CEO, Richard Lee, as well as the product manager, Austin Kim. Had some good conversations. Some of those interviews will be embargoed because we go into depth about those paddles. Yep. So those will be coming out after March 4th. But one of those we might be able to release a little bit earlier. So I'm going to get working on that. And as we mentioned, the Perseus 4 and the Agassi Pro, like I said, March 4th. Everything else will be coming out in April.
Yep.
I don't know. You might be able to, like I said, put down a deposit in March, but I didn't get any information passed me on that. So
they might.
We'll see. I just was told that they're going to ship in April. Yeah. And like I said, the other ones I believe are shipping in March, which is also why we only have the Perseus.
Yep. Just got the one, but luckily for us, we got the two thicknesses.
Yeah, that we wanted.
We
Yeah,
wanted.
because everyone was guaranteed a 16 millimeter, and then you're able to choose between the Agassi Pro or the 14, and I wanted the 14. So worked out perfect for us. I know some other people were maybe a little disappointed in that, but again, these paddles are coming out shortly after, so we're going to be getting our hands on these. Another bit of news that was interesting, and they pointed this out, and that's the dual stamp.
Yep.
So we got confirmation that the 3S will be getting a dual stamp. They will be continuing to sell the 3S. However, the USAP UPAA dual stamped 3S will be sold for, I believe, $240.
Yep.
And the UPAA only stamp that's currently already out will be reduced to $260.
Yep.
We'll get into why. They also are doing the same thing with the Pro 4s in terms of there will be a dual stamped model and just a UPAA only model. The reasoning for this is the UPAA measures spin by RPMs, or surface, I should say, construction or material by only RPMs.
Yep.
The USAP does it by the peaks and valleys in the face, or like by stare at test. I think they've switched up how they do it, but essentially that's it. So surface roughness is done very differently by both organizations.
Yep.
So USAP's paddle will actually be smoother, the dual stamped one, than the UPAA. Obviously, the pros who play PPA events and MLP,
they want grit,
are going to be using the UPAA paddle. So if you zoom in on Ben's paddle or any of the pros and you don't see the dual stamp, that's why. So that's going to be something, like I said, that'll be coming out later. I don't know if they had confirmation on if there's going to be a price difference between the Pro 4s. I'm assuming they're both launching at $280. I also don't know if the UPAA one is launching.
The UPAA one is launching. I don't
on March 4th.
I'm not too
Might
sure.
come later. Regardless, we did get confirmation on the 3S and this others, and I do know there will be two versions, but they might not be selling that UPAA only one for until later.
Yep.
Interesting choice, but I wanted to highlight that because that is going to be a very big topic and very confusing for the end consumer. I understand why they're doing it because obviously their pros want the highest level grip possible. They want to make their pros happy. I know there's some thoughts and words in regards to the differences between the two organizations and which way Joola obviously thinks is the better way to go. But that very, very interesting thing that I did not expect coming out of this event.
No.
The other information that we also got confirmed is the Gen 2 Joola paddles are getting sunset this year. They'll be selling out of their remaining stock, but as they mentioned, they're committed to more and higher, longer durability. So they are going to have a replacement for the Gen 2. We don't know what yet, but we did get confirmation they will be replacing the Gen 2 with something. I'm assuming it'll be at a lower price point. But those, if you like that Gen 2 and you're still using it, you might want to buy up something. Yeah, buy it up before they're sold out because they will no longer be producing that paddle.
Yep. I always like those paddles.
See, that was the one I never enjoyed. I shouldn't say that's the wrong word. I used the original one. I liked the Hyperion. Obviously, our friend Jack still uses that paddle. Absolutely loves it. Then the Gen 2 came out and it just seemed like everyone still loved the Gen 1 more of the original. Obviously, they sold a bunch of Gen 2s, but so I always just defaulted to the original one. And then the Gen 3s came out and I was all over those as everyone else was.
Yeah, I used a lot of I've used the Scorpius Gen 2 a decent amount. So I liked it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good feeling. It hits hard for a Gen 2 paddle.
Yeah. So, like I said, what are your thoughts between, obviously we interviewed, don't want to dive too much into that yet because we'll have that coming out, but just more USAP and UPAA drama, and Joola's kind of stirring the pot with this. Like I said, I understand it from the business standpoint, but this is going to be so many SKUs to deal with.
Yeah, I think I added it up. It's like 32 SKUs by the time you add up all the shapes, because I mean, they have so many shapes, they have so many thicknesses, they have everything.
I'm assuming they're going to do it for the Agassi paddle too.
Yeah,
they didn't talk about it, but I would assume so.
Yeah.
Because they have pros that are going to be using that.
Yep.
Gosh, that's... Ugh.
So, I mean, that's another 6.
These reviews are going to be very long and a lot of explanations, but wanted to pass that along because, like I said, the information we're allowed to pass along. Can't talk about the core technology and can't give a full in-depth review, but short and sweet of it. Feels like a mod. Plays like a improved 3S. It definitely has a better sweet spot, and that's because of something they tweaked in the core.
Yep.
Again, I wish
It's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could talk more on that, but everyone's going to have to just wait 2 weeks on that. I know there's some information that's floating out there, so if you look hard, you might be able to find it. I don't want to be the ones that get in trouble for sharing that. So I just wanted to pass along that information. And like I said, that's why we kind of wanted to hop on this podcast, get this out quick, just to be able to relay this in audio and video form. Because I know some other people have posted just some graphics and whatnot. So, but yeah, really big fan of this paddle. I mean, these are going to do insanely well.
Yeah.
It's like, my biggest problem with the 3S was the dual stamp.
Yeah.
It's because like I said, I mean, if you don't play PPA events, and your club is strict or local tournaments, are using USAP, it's like that was a massive problem. I even said that in my power, top 5 power videos or power paddles of 2024 I put the Gen 3S at the 3rd spot because I'm like, it just doesn't have the USAP, which is a big deal to a lot of consumers. Now, if you're just a rec player, obviously it doesn't matter, but it's like, if I feel like I'm making a full recommendation, it's like, that's a big problem for just the average amateur that wants to show up to your local tournament or whatever it is. And also people can just use that against you also. That was, last year there was a lot more UPA drama with what's going on with USAP right now and them kind of dropping the ball with the course fire, which definitely seems like that's on them. Obviously the Rhombus Ripple, that one, who knows what's going on with that. But UPA might be positioning themselves to be a lot
Seems
bigger.
Like they're going to be around for a while.
A lot bigger threat than I was maybe originally anticipating in terms of them having their stuff together. And
how do you like the design?
I love it. Like I said, I mean, the mod is going to be, we always joked. I mean, obviously it was a prototype. It looked like a prototype. Just how clean it was.
This one kind of looks like a prototype.
That's what I was going to say. They built upon it, but made it look a little bit more like a final production. I like the red. Obviously, the other shapes.
I was a little surprised that Ben's was red
instead of blue. Good catch. But yeah, so like I said, they'll have subtle colors, but yeah, everything's mostly black and white.
Yeah, I mean, Anna's is yellow and Tyson's is
still pink. Yeah,
Simone's is blue. I didn't see a column one, but
I didn't see a column one.
I don't know if they were just all 14 millimeters that they had there.
Maybe, yeah. Because I was going to say, I mean, I know all those were still prototypes, so
I would imagine Colin's getting his paddle.
I'd assume so as well. I mean, he was at the event. They had, ironically, they had all their pros because obviously everyone's in Mesa and was in Tucson. They had all their pros actually very close to where we live. For their event the week prior to our event with all the creators.
And I was wondering because I sent you a picture of Colin got posted at one of the courts, the private courts we play at.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is he here?
Which is
2 weeks early.
Very close to my house.
Yes. I was like, why is he here 2 weeks early?
Yeah.
But then they were like, hey, we just had all our pros out. And
that, like I said, that's one thing I think that Joola really was stressing at this event, which I appreciate a lot, was just really the family, like I said, trying to have this be more than just a paddle company. Like I said, they really want to have this brand grow, expand, feel more like a community. And like I said, not just be we make great products. It's like, we're a great company that has great products. And like I said, this event was really a cool way to kind of showcase that. Like I said, it brought a lot of people together and they have a great product.
Yeah, they do.
Be on the lookout for these. Are you going to use it in singles this weekend?
Next pod. Next pod will know.
Still a TBD. I mean,
I think I'm a game time decision on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I don't think I'm going to. Like I said, we were talking about this because we both used the mod for a while.
Yep.
And we're using the Flamingo currently. We're both using Project Flamingo from Proton and doubles.
Yeah. I'm for sure using Flamingo on Saturday for doubles. For singles, I may start with this one. Once I switch to the Flamingo.
See, I'm thinking
I may start the other way.
I think I'm going to go another way of that. I think I might start with the Thrive Smoke.
Yeah.
And I want to use the smoke so badly in singles.
This is our job, right?
I know. So it's one of those things. I mean, I care about singles, but not really.
Yeah, not as much doubles.
So it's like, I kind of want to play test it in a tournament.
Yeah.
And a certain pro did pretty well against Fed this week using the Thrive Smoke. Beat Fed, I think 11-6 in the first.
Yeah.
And then lost the next two in the round of 16. But
Hey, round of 16.
I know. So, and that's with Fed using the Joola, not using the Adidas.
It's a whole nother drama.
So I don't know. Like I said, I've been enjoying that paddle. I really like the shape. It's got a long handle. So I'm like, it'd be good for singles. The only problem is I haven't experimented with what lead setup I like.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to use it yet, but also like I have been using it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hit like 4 drops with this. So it should be good.
But yeah, so I might use the smoke, might use this, might stick with the flamingo. Singles is TBD, but yeah, doubles on Saturday will 100% be using the flamingo.
I like the extra length on the handle.
Yeah.
And like I said, we've used a mod.
It feels very at home.
It feels very, and it doesn't feel that far off from the flamingo either.
No.
So I might use it. I'll probably use it. Yeah. I'll probably use it, then switch to the flamingo after I lose. Or
sounds good.
Because we get guaranteed 2 losses. So
that's true. So that wraps up, I think, like I said, good amount of Pro 4. Hope we were able to kind of answer some questions that you guys might have had about the event. But thank you, Team Joola, for having us out. Like I said, it was a blast. Hope we get to do it again next year. It was awesome seeing all the creators.
I hope they come, because they were supposed to have it in Mesa. I hope they do it again in Mesa. Even though it was awesome going to Vegas.
Yeah.
So. I just think it'd be cool to have an event with all the pros.
Not only that,
maybe they should do 2 events.
Well, they mentioned that.
Yeah.
But not only that, I think the one thing that would have been fun about that is I know like Kyle had mentioned, like they all would have signed up for the amateur divisions. Yeah. So all of us would have not only been able to go to the event, but also then compete at the actual PPA. Because like at Worlds, when John and I played, dude, it was so fun, like rooting everybody on in their brackets. Like I watched Chris in singles the day before. I watched the creators battle. Then all of them were watching me and John. Or John and I. And
that's true. If Chris can use the Saga in singles, we can use this.
True. Very true. Yeah. But as kind of you mentioned, it's like me switching from this to the flamingo for whatever reason is just so much easier.
It's not changing.
And I think that's a decent segue into just another paddle I wanted to talk about again, which is the 11SIX24 Huarache X, which I will be dropping my review the same day that this is posting. And again, I want to like this paddle so much more than I do. I just, for whatever reason, I'm just not comfortable using it. Yeah. I'm like just jumping in. It's just, the shapes are great. The power is great. The value's there. I know a lot of people are enjoying it. I will say, I do think, which I cover in my review, I do think the paddle was a little bit oversold on what it can do.
Yeah.
But like I said, the true value here is the value. Value for the power you get. Just like how I think some people were disappointed in the Carbon True Foam, the Genesis. I think that paddle was also a bit oversold on performance. The main value there is new core that's going to last, that's durable.
Yeah.
Obviously, the counter to that is, who cares if the core is durable if the face material wears down before the core breaks? Yeah. So that's another conversation, but just some things I kind of wanted to highlight that I've been noticing as trends. And I think this one kind of suffered from the same sense, because like I said, a lot of the reviewers are switching to this and they really love it. I was talking to John on the bus. Like I said, he loves this paddle.
Yeah.
And
I think it could be the units that you have as well. Like,
it could be.
I mean, the way they describe the paddle isn't as much as you've seen from it. Like I played with you while you were using it.
Yeah.
And I was like, he is not comfortable with that.
No.
Like he would go for shots and you were just very timid when you're usually very confident in your shots. I overall really liked it. I mean, I'm not going to switch to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember the first time we hit it, I hit Aaron's and I was like, oh, the vapor.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I mentioned that in the review too. I was like, the first time I picked it up is very different than me now.
So, I mean, it could be.
It might be the units.
Faulty units.
I mean, the one thing though, which was brought up in my comment section of the last podcast, was the grit level changed drastically on these from the pre-production to the final production. They got a lot smoother.
Yeah.
And that was because David wanted to be safe, to make sure they passed, didn't get delisted, because who knows what's going on over at USAP right now. So I respect that decision.
Yeah.
I think he went a little bit too smooth based off other paddles that are on the market.
Yeah.
Could be wrong with that. He might be at the limit and other paddles are cheating. Who knows? Another reviewer was Steven, who we were talking about in Vegas. I know he wasn't as impressed after the change.
Yeah.
And I know some other people, it sounded like kind of that had hit both, were under the same sentiment. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I've seen, I mean, on one side, I'm seeing these paddles being resold. They're being scalped and being sold for $300 on resale sites. And then I'm also seeing a bunch of comments saying, I bought it because a bunch of people recommended it. I don't like it, and they're selling it. And not that they don't like it, but they weren't impressed by it. And so that's why I wanted to kind of give this disclaimer. And in my review, I was trying to point out, it's like, it doesn't do anything crazy special. It's a very good power paddle at the cheapest price point out of most of them on the market.
Yeah.
And that's the sell of it. And I pointed out if you use the mod, it doesn't have as much power as that. But if you're like just a banger, you don't hit a lot of drops, it's like this is going to be a very good spot. And also, based on everyone's performance of using it for 2 months, like this paddle's lasting. It's not breaking down yet. Yeah. Now, also, as a lot of them did also mention, if you're worried about that, still wait for people, to use all of their units. Because like I said, maybe the first production model or even the second final production, it's like, I'd be made a little bit differently. So if you're really worried about that, just let the public play test it for a month. If you don't hear any problems, it's probably going to last.
Yep.
But yeah, I just kind of want to bring this back up again because obviously very hot topic. We didn't have our hands on it for a while. Still trying to get used to it. Like I said, I want to like this paddle.
Yep.
I'm not going to force myself to like it, but I just want to make sure I'm getting it a fair shot because the other reviewers did have it for significantly longer than I did.
Yeah. And I think we'll get more play testing in too once the tournament's over.
Yeah, that's true. We've been focusing on using obviously the Flamingo majoritively outside of me doing all my videos.
You still had all your videos
still been
play
switching
testing,
a lot.
but
trying to be smarter this time around with it because I was more limited on time. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a good paddle, but
it's a great paddle. It just so far it has not been for me, which is sad because I like this handle and I really like the shape. And then jumping into the next paddle, kind of touched upon it already, but the Thrive Smoke. And yeah, you finally, because I was supposed to get you yours before we went to Vegas, but then you're like, just give it to me after. So yours is brand spanking new.
Yeah.
It comes in one swing point higher. Yours was, I believe, 119. I think mine's 118.
Yeah.
5.6 inch handle, 14.5 millimeters. It uses a wide cell core technology. So it's 10 millimeters. I believe they're calling this their macro charged core. It's definitely a power paddle. Not top of the market. I know throughout the month, I was saying the Proton Flamingo was my solution to finding a paddle tech with a bigger sweet spot. I want to adjust that statement.
Ooh.
It's still true.
Yeah.
But when I was saying that is like the power levels of the paddle tech, but with a larger sweet spot. That's what I was looking for. And there wasn't much options on the market at the time. The Flamingo fit it. This, however, plays and feels more like a paddle tech.
Yeah.
The Flamingo does not play like a paddle tech. No. It's a Gen 3 versus a Gen 1, smaller core size. This, however, has that 10 millimeter wide cell core.
Yep.
Slightly different thickness. Obviously, they have a 14.3. I usually use a 12.7. But yeah, and then this also has a 5.6 inch handle. So that also comes in between the regular TKOC and then the TKOCX. So it's interesting. Like I said, we mentioned some of the pros are using this even on the PPA Tour. Obviously, it's done well on the APP Tour. I don't know. This is a paddle I'm very excited to kind of just experiment with.
Yeah. Like
I said, I love my Paddletech TKO. And this is just, like I said, just a slightly different variation of it, I think. It's also cheaper. It's $220, I believe $200 after code. And like I said, I think these will be launching, or I think they're launching in mid-March, I believe. I think it's shooting for around the 15th. So yeah, just like I said, looking to, after Mesa, putting a lot more hours on this paddle. Like I said, I might be using it in singles. We'll see.
Yeah.
Definitely want to throw a little bit light on this. But the interesting thing with these is it's got a good twist weight. I believe it's over 6.
I could tell you.
Yeah, look at what's your card at?
6.2.
Yeah, so it's got a good twist weight for an elongated. So it's 14.5, so it's faster than a 16 millimeter. It's, I believe, 7.8 to 7.9 ounces on average.
Yeah.
So it's also light and it's ready to play right out of the box. But it's also light enough that you can still add weight to it, and it doesn't get too heavy.
Swing weight, or 119. Yeah, mine's 120, pretty much. 119.98.
Okay. Yeah, I think mine was just over 118.
Yeah. It's kind of surprising that it's 7.99. I don't know. It seems light for. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like 120.
I'm assuming that's led to it being 14.5 for one.
Yeah.
And then secondly, wide cell core. So less material in the core, just kind of like what we're seeing with some of these foam paddles.
Yeah.
You're taking weight out of the core of the paddle. So these are getting lighter, static.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's benefits to that. If you want to add weight to it, you can. And if you don't want to, honestly, this is one that is like, it plays fine stock. This isn't in that category of some of the chorus paddles, the C45 and the 008s, where it's like really good paddles. You just need a lot of weight on them.
Yeah.
So
I played your stock a little bit. And I thought it was great.
it's poppy. It's got good power. Definitely on top of the market. It's less than the Flamingo. It's less than a 12.7 Paddletech TKO. The one thing I've been seeing a lot of questions is, and I answered this because my Azul is very broken in. So a new Azul versus a new Smoke, the general sentiment, this does hit harder.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a broken in Azul, this will not hit harder. So that's just the one caveat I kind of wanted to say there. But if you take two brand new of these paddles, this one will hit harder. So if you're looking for a little bit more power and you're a fan of Thrive, look out for the Smoke.
Yeah.
Got any more thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I haven't had enough to have real thoughts, but my first few hits, I did really enjoy it.
Yeah. And then the last thing, just kind of wanted to cover, is new company. I believe they are also out of Arizona, is King Court Pickleball. Sent over some hats. Got a lot of designs. I saw there was a California one. Obviously, there's an Arizona one here. Got a USA one here. They got a bunch of styles. I think they've got, this is the flat bill. That's the 5-panel. They've got, I think, a 6-panel, a visor, and I think one other shape. But I think they're good looking hats. I think they weren't crazy expensive like some of the Melons, which everyone's obviously a huge fan of. Definitely a good material that would wash. But I'm looking to I want to try to, I really want this 5-panel, but with the Arizona logo and maybe white.
Yeah.
I know also you're a big fan of the 5-panel, so something that we'll probably be wearing, might have a little more thoughts on, but just want to kind of give it a shout out because they sent these over and I really did like the designs of them. So.
Yeah, they look good. Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah. So probably not wearing it this weekend, but I'll probably be wearing it next weekend. I've got a couple rec games, so a couple stuff scheduled that I'm looking forward to. Oh, yeah, thank you. And then I guess the last thing, don't have this paddle, meant to bring it out, but I'll have a review on the Supercourts from Chorus.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump into the Course Fire situation?
Yeah, Course Fire situation's crazy.
Yeah.
So EX and SX are gone. The HX is sunset, same dates as the mod and the gearbox. So June 1st, 25.
July 1st. July 1st, 2025.
July 1st, 2025.
I put you on the spot here. Don't worry.
Justin over at Pickleball Pursuit laid it out better.
Amazing.
Anybody.
Amazing layout. Yeah.
Because I was like, I know some people have posted and they were like, how does one paddle get sunset? Two paddles get banned
immediately
with the same core design.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense. When they sent in the paddle for testing, they sent in the HX. Some miscommunication. I don't know how you have miscommunication if something failed or something.
I mean, it seems to be a common trend right now at USAP.
Right now, but the lab said it failed. USAP thought they said it passed. That's the story. I don't know. They approved it. Moves on. It's approved. Everybody, well, not everybody, but we said this thing hits like a rocket.
Yeah, we're about the only ones that said that.
Yeah, but we were like, this thing is going to fail.
I have receipts of other people saying that I was crazy for saying that. And I'm not talking from fans.
We went and tested it. I love the Course Fire.
I do too.
I think it feels great. I mean, I get why people are disgruntled about it because they're like, it doesn't hit like a mod. It doesn't hit like a gearbox.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't.
Those paddles are banned too.
Yeah.
Like the only thing people can say it doesn't hit like are banned paddles. And the thing with the Course Fire is you can hit drives, you can hit serves, you can hit literally anything except for a counter.
Yeah.
If you hit a counter.
In our experience, at least.
Yeah. If you hit a counter with it, it's over.
It was the most illegal thing I'd ever seen in my life.
It hit both of our units. Both of our units hit harder than a mod, harder than a gearbox on counters.
And I also add separate batches. Yeah. Because there was a note that Matt from the owner of Course sent out that the first batch might have some issues with the core in terms of like core crushed. Graham got the newer units.
Yeah. And it still, it was the fiberglass on the top layer.
Yeah.
And that's why people, I think, put it in the middle layer, the bottom layer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only been a few times where we've been playing with people and they go, what are you using? Like, that is something else. And it's when we got the Gen 3s. It's like, no, this isn't okay. Your stupid serve with the Gearbox
Pro Power. When I got it after 4, because that was before I was reviewing. I bought that. I waited 4 months for that to deliver.
And you served and we were like, that's not fair.
Yeah. Still, I love bringing that thing out. So my slicer with that.
The looks we got for the Gearbox elongated, the Gen 3 and the mod.
The mod was a little more expected, but yes.
Still like...
I just more mean in terms of those paddles came out and no one knew what they were.
Yeah.
The mod, at least most people knew what they were, but you still got those looks of like, this is stupid.
We picked up the Course Fire, played with it, and everybody was like...
Same looks.
What are you doing? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Because we were playing indoors. I remember the first time we used it. And we would block and it would bounce and go straight into the next court, like over the fence.
Or I remember the blue wall at center court. Yeah. Blocking and hitting the back wall.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was...
Yeah. Now, also, the one thing I do want to mention, and maybe this is why some of the other reviewers didn't catch it, we used the EX model.
Yeah.
Maybe the SX and the HX... Like, I hit those, but obviously I didn't put nearly as many hours on them as I did the EX. So maybe there was something with, the longer face. I don't know. Yeah. But I just wanted to point that out. It's like, that might be one reasoning. But, yeah. So, and the one thing I will say that I did appreciate from Chorus, because, Matt's an amazing guy. Yeah. I know he was just in Sedona. I was texting him a little bit. But amazing guy, great owner. He's doing right by all of his, like I said, consumers, giving them full refunds. He's also taking care of all of his ambassadors. Love to see that. Unfortunate for him, because obviously he didn't go into this with the intent of this, and he got the approval.
He wasn't even trying to make a crazy power paddle.
He was trying to make a singles paddle. That literally was what he said in Dallas. I'm just trying to make a singles paddle for me because I play singles, and I was looking for something that had a little more power.
And he made a great one. Yeah. Because singles, you're not doing that block.
Too great of a power, apparently.
But you're not doing that block, really.
Exactly.
So,
but I just want, the thing I was going to finish on that is, I like that USAP in course came out with a joint announcement.
Yeah.
That leads me to believe that USAP is taking some more ownership of this one.
Yeah.
The situation we haven't seen that with is with Rhombus.
No.
So I don't know what's going on with that one. Like, so I was smelling something was wrong with that for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'm wrong, but because I want to see that paddle out. Dong over at Rhombus, like I said, I'm rooting for him, but I have very strong opinions on the Ripple, even though, like I said, it's the best paddle ever created. And because of that, it probably shouldn't be legal. Sue me. I'm talking about commenters, because so many people in my first Ripple review absolutely ripped me to shreds for saying that.
That's the only other time I've been scared of
the new one
hitting with you. The new one was the new Ripple.
Yeah, the PB
we were hitting
or 0.43.
It was the only paddle I've seen with the block that the Fire had, where it was you hit it, I would speed up at you.
Yeah.
You would put the paddle out.
And a little 1-inch flick was all it took.
Not even. Just a slight punch. And it was I was like, okay.
It's done. Yeah. Anything else above the net, you were already flinching.
Let's take it out and practice for singles tonight.
Literally. Yeah. So that was that. But then the paddle that is still legal, which might be the best value on the market right now, is the Supercourt.
Yeah.
That thing, the only gripe I think we have with it is the shorter handle.
Yeah.
It's just...
I didn't even have a quite problem with that.
I didn't either, but it's more of just I'm saying, if there was one thing to nitpick, it's the handle could be just slightly longer.
Yep.
Didn't have an issue with it. Just if it was slightly longer, it probably might be in the bag. I think it's that good. Now again, not a crazy power paddle. It's definitely leaning power. Might be bottom of power. Very solid option. I think after code it's $108. And it's it's just, that's what I'm saying. For $108, I'm usually not one. I know most reviewers, like I said, price, because like I said, we want to take care of you guys. We want to get you guys the best paddle for the cheapest price. I always fall into, I want to review the paddle first before price.
Yep.
This is one that I'm going to put, this paddle is very solid. And if it was $160 or $70, I'd be it's a good paddle. It's average. But for $108, this is a very, very good, easy recommendation for me.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something that's a little more aggressive.
Well, because there's nothing that really compares to it in that price range for power.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Most, everything's usually controlled.
Because like if it's 170, there's probably paddles you can.
No,
you can get the 11SIX24.
Yeah, the power line. Exactly.
So, but for 108, because I mean, you're looking at Prism at 99.
The new Spartas paddles are coming out are 80.
Yeah.
But you got the Friday paddles, which are even cheaper.
Friday
Jelly Bean.
paddle.
The Jelly Bean from 11SIX24.
Friday
the original.
Challenger paddles. Monster.
Challenge. Yeah, with weight. With a ton of weight.
Monster.
Ton of weight it is.
Maybe I'll whip that out tomorrow.
Yeah, use that in singles.
Play with the Friday guys.
But yeah, just wanted to highlight it. I'm going to have a review out on that as well. I was supposed to already have one out, just busy with travel, busy with school, job, everything. So life's just been hitting me recently.
Lots of things happening.
So I was happy we were able to at least sit down and record this though. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope we didn't ramble on too much about the Joola event, but we just kind of wanted to kind of highlight the whole event. I might have a vlog out on it. I don't know if I got enough footage. We'll see, but it was a blast. Just want to say thanks again to Joola and thanks again for listening.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.